Hello, everyone.
Hi.
We are currently sitting on the ground of our hotel room in Scottsdale, Arizona, where we are at the She Podcast conference. Excuse me, She Podcast Live conference. And you are getting by the time you're hearing this, we will no longer be at the She Podcast conference. But the point is, you are about to hear a very special episode of Sleepover Cinema. In fact, you are about to hear our very first ever live recorded before an audience episode. Audrey was not nervous.
I don't know why.
I was.
I really don't know why I wasn't.
Audrey had no tears left to cry after all the things she's been through lately.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hardened at this point.
She's hardened from public appearances for sure. But we covered Hocus Pocus. It was really fun, and we hope you enjoy it. It's definitely going to be a little bit different than things normally are from us. Namely, that I'm terrified and that it's very echoey. But we think you'll enjoy it because you've gotten to know us. You want to hear us do hard things. And
you're gonna be able to tell the difference though, for sure.
You're gonna be able to tell. Yeah, I say multiple words that are not English words.
I can't even remember what you did.
I said plop at one point when I was trying to say plot. So that's a good litmus test.
I did
plop
not hear
is
that.
A word, but not the word I meant to use. Anyway, happy Halloween. This is a festive episode as well. And if you hear us do this episode and you're like, I want them to come and do a live episode where I live or something, no promises. However, would love to.
If you want to fund it,
if you have a generous sponsor who wants to fund that, we would love to do it. But doing some sort of live event with listeners of the show would
very fun.
Obviously be great to do outside of this conference as well. So anyway, we'll stop talking. Enjoy the episode.
Enjoy.
Welcome to Sleepover Cinema, where we analyze the films that created the collective unconscious of the girls and gays of the late 90s and early 2000s. I'm Hannah Leach.
And I'm Audrey Leach. We are the sister filmmaking duo also known as Two Pink Pictures, and we have not stopped thinking about these movies since we first saw them.
We're going to explore the good, the bad, and the nonsensical of the movies that first inspired our love for film in an attempt to answer the question, are these movies actually good? And at the end of the day, do we really care if they are?
Today, we are talking about 1993's Hocus Pocus. Woo!
Jump back. Twist the bones and bend the back. Mystic.
Back in 1693, the people of Salem, Massachusetts, witches, thought they got rid of the Sanderson sisters for good.
We shall be back.
300 years later, it's Halloween Eve, and they're back.
We're home.
Are you boys a little old to be trick-or-treating?
We're talking about 3 ancient hags versus the 20th century. How bad can it be?
Now they're digging up old friends
God, what a stench.
and running amok, looking for the one thing they miss most.
You stay for supper.
I'm not hungry.
But we are.
Only one boy has the power to stop them
Prepare to die again!
You have no powers here, you fool!
before all Salem falls under their spell.
Hell on you.
Walt Disney Pictures presents Bette Midler,
Hello.
Sarah Jessica Parker,
Would thou dance with me?
and Kathy Najimy. Hocus Pocus.
Into the night.
They love to fly, and it shows.
Good night. Sleep tight. No screaming.
That was fun.
That was fun. Yeah. So, hi, everyone. We are so happy to be here at the She Podcast Live conference today. How's your day been? Good, everyone?
Good.
Yeah. Cool. So before we get into everything, we just wanted to give like a smidge of context as to who we are and what we're doing. So I'm Hannah. I'm a podcast producer, musician, and writer based in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm the older sister, and I'm also a Leo.
Now
Yes.
now we got that out of the way. I'm Audrey. I'm the younger sister, and I'm a Cancer. And I am a filmmaker and an editor. And we just kind of do this together, which is very fun.
We've been a podcast together for over a year. We just celebrated 1 year, and it's been and it's been a great ride so far. So for the She Podcast Conference, we wanted something spooky. We wanted something early 90s. We wanted to get into it. So that's what we're going to do this evening. You know, get cozy, have some snacks, just listen to us, do our thing. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
So, okay, are we ready to get into the facts?
Yeah, let's get in.
Okay.
Let's dive in.
So, Hocus Pocus was released on July 16th, 1993. Yeah, so you're thinking to yourself,
Why?
July?
Why July?
Why? This is why. So, the film was released in July because apparently they kids are out for school, so they wanted the kids to come see it, and also controversially, Disney was releasing Nightmare Before Christmas that Halloween. So
they gave Bette Midler the short sell.
Basically, they threw Bette Midler under the bus, which is unforgivable, but they did it.
Well, they gave her a shot, because if you're going to put Nightmare Before Christmas versus Hocus Pocus, it's a little unfair. You can't do both. So I understand.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so also Hocus Pocus was directed by the man, the myth, the legend, Kenny Ortega, the man behind the High School Musical franchise, to which we are forever grateful. He is also known for having directed Michael Jackson's This Is It, a weirdly large amount of Gilmore Girls episodes. I didn't know that. Cheetah Girls 2, Newsies, and music videos for Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers, as well as the Pointer Sisters. I'm so excited. Who knew? Not me.
Living legend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also the Rocky Horror with Laverne Cox.
Nice.
Yeah. Among many other things.
What versatility.
I know. Also, this is our first live episode ever, so you're really in it with us right now. So thank you again for being here. So Hocus Pocus was produced by David Kirshner, and when I tell you the amount of Curious George content this man has churned out over the past 10 years, it was straight Curious George down the IMDb
He
page.
must really be invested. He
really cares about Curious George. I'm not sure why. But at the time of Hocus Pocus, he was mostly producing things kind of in this genre. So Bride of Chucky, the Flintstones live action movie, which is a movie that haunts my unconscious. I haven't seen it in a zillion years, but I know it has John Goodman in it, I think.
Yeah.
It's a creepy live action remake in my mind.
Yeah, they tried.
Yeah.
It was an era for that kind of thing, the live action.
Adaptations.
Scooby-Doo,
Yeah.
Everybody knows that Scooby-Doo live-action movie.
Yeah.
The two.
Right. And this guy also produced the Addams Family 90s series and Pirates of Dark Water, which I don't know what that is, but he did a lot of it, so I put it on here.
Cool.
And before that, he produced a ton of TV. And then the other producer we have is Stephen Haft, who produced Mad TV from 1995 to 2008, and also Dead Poets Society, Emma, Tigerland, and apparently this man is in the mix of Hocus Pocus 2, which is filming now, coincidentally. So we have that coming up in life, which is exciting.
He's got the serious film side here,
absolutely.
Which kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Hocus Pocus is respected like that.
And then the story of Hocus Pocus was written by David Kirshner, again, who we just talked about, and Mick Garris. And now Mick Garris is this guy who really considers himself to be an authority on horror movies. I don't know if anyone knows who this man is, but he worked on Masters of Horror, Fear Itself, She-Wolf of London, and the show Amazing Stories. And he also directed lots of kind of goofy horror adjacent projects, and the Stephen King miniseries The Stand, and he just loves horror clearly, and this movie's not quite there.
No, I wouldn't say it's on the Stephen King level.
Yeah, I don't think so, but the interest was there. So, and then the screenplay was written by Mick and Neil Cuthbert, who wrote Return of the Swamp Thing, and that's pretty much it. So he made some good contributions, though. Okay. Okay, Audrey.
All right, so now I'm gonna read the plot synopsis in case you don't know, which I'm sure most of the people in this room do know, but here it is. 300 years have passed since the Sanderson sisters were executed for practicing dark witchcraft. Returning to life thanks to a combination of a spell spoken before their demise and the accidental actions of Max, the new kid in town, the sisters have but one night to secure their continuing existence.
A bomb plot.
Yeah.
Plot synopsis.
If you ever happen to listen to our show, I always read the plot synopsis, and they're usually like terrible.
They're normally very, very bad.
Like even the ones that they use, like officially.
Yes.
So that one, not bad. Not bad.
That one I thought was strong.
Yeah. And we always read the taglines for the movies, and sometimes there's a bunch of options. They'll have like 6 promotional options. This one just has one. They were very sure of themselves here.
Yes.
And it's just a bunch of Hocus Pocus.
Snappy.
That's good. Also, it's a line in the movie, I think.
Yes, it is. It's Max.
I like that.
It's all just a bunch of hocus pocus.
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, hey.
I said it.
There it is.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're getting into the cast here. So it goes without saying, we have Bette Midler as Winifred in this movie, you know, an iconic role, an iconic moment. But when she was doing this movie, she was already an Academy Award winner, but she's a grand dame of the stage and screen. She is best known for being in, obviously, Gypsy as Mama Rose, but as far as movies go, she's best known for being in First Wives Club, Hocus Pocus, Ruthless People, and Beaches. And, okay, does anyone know about the Bette TV show?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know about this, but apparently she had like a sitcom that was like based on her life or like loosely based around her actual personhood, but it only lasted a season, so sad for Bette.
I guess the people did not need more Bette Midler, which I disagree.
I know.
Maybe it just wasn't the right time.
Yeah.
I think she could do it now, though.
That would be
This could be
fierce now.
not that we need more reboots. We don't. But Bette?
Now?
Maybe.
Good. And she also was in Coastal Elites, which was the weird like quarantine show. Did anyone watch that show? It was like a bunch of really big name actors delivering monologues, like basically to their webcams.
Right.
But it was like very timely. It's like so timely that it's the sort of thing you look back on it
And
like even
what?
3 months later and you're like, I can't do it. Like it's so painful.
Yeah.
It was a show like that. But, you know, she did a good job from what I've seen of it. Next up, we have Sarah Jessica Parker playing Sarah. Obviously.
Wow. Sarah,
I know.
Sarah.
I know. I thought about that, but I think it was actually a coincidence. But obviously, we know her from Sex and the City. She's also known for being in The Family Stone, Divorce, First Wives Club. And I didn't know that she was Rusty in Footloose, but she was. So, good for her. Child actress who's made it this far. And then we have Kathy Najimy as Mary, and she is best known as having been in Sister Act 1 and 2. She was also Peggy Hill for all of King of the Hill, which I thought was cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, and she was also in the show Veronica's Closet.
Underrated.
Yes.
Underrated.
Yeah.
And being a voice actor, you know.
Yeah.
You don't tend to get the credit you deserve.
No. And then we have Omri Katz as Max, who seems to have basically stopped acting after exiting childhood, which good
Probably,
for him.
Yeah, honestly.
I never know how to react when that happens. Like, is that because something good happened or something bad happened? Like, you never really know.
It's different for everyone, I guess.
Yeah.
But you know what I heard recently is that Leonardo DiCaprio was potentially going to play Max, but then he was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, well, apparently he turned it down because of What's Eating Gilbert Grape was happening at the same time.
He had already shot it at the time, but he had the hype.
Oh.
He had the hype.
Okay.
And then I think it was just probably not like tonally right in his career.
Right.
I could see that.
Well, it's also funny because when I watched Hocus Pocus last week, in like the very first scene when it's Thackeray turning into a cat, I like thought it was Leonardo DiCaprio for the first 5 seconds. Mm-hmm. So interesting.
They were looking for someone
that
like
look
that.
was in the mix at the time. Clearly,
it's a lot just about the hair though. Like if you look at top right, like
yeah,
that was the hair.
That was the look. And then next up we have Thora Birch as Danny, who is the younger sister. She played Kevin Spacey's daughter in American Beauty. Hate to see it. However, it's true. She was also
Love
Enid.
her, though.
Yeah, she's good. She was Enid in Ghost World. She was Sally in Patriot Games. She was recently in The Walking Dead. And she was in 36-ish episodes of Day by Day before Hocus Pocus. So she's been acting for a very, very long time. And then last but not least, we have Vanessa Shaw as Allison, the girlfriend, or like the hopeful girlfriend. And she's best known. She's not hoping to be the girlfriend. Max is hoping that she will be the
boyfriend.
Yes. And she's best known for being in Eyes Wide Shut, The Hills Have Eyes, 3:10 to Yuma, and that's basically it. So this happens a lot with these movies. Like the youngest actors like don't have as much of a body of work
or
as the adults, but
or whatever.
Makes sense if you think about it.
So now we're gonna get into the numbers.
Ooh.
So the budget for Hocus Pocus was $28 million approximately. On box office opening weekend, it made $8,125,471. That's not probably as good as they had hoped.
Right.
But
it's not the biggest flop we've seen.
No, not at all. Not the biggest flop. Not even close.
And just stay tuned because
it's
not actually a flop.
Right, but it's actually not that good either. The overall worldwide gross is $39,514,713. So 28 million budget, 39 million worldwide gross. That's not great for Disney.
I guess not.
It's like kind of not.
But like the cult following clearly is doing something because they wouldn't be making a sequel if it wasn't for that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like a grower.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now we're going to talk about how it was received critically. There's a 38% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. Ew. Boo. I had not seen that. Oh, God. Okay. So the critical consensus, literally, was harmlessly hokey, yet never much more than mediocre. Hocus Pocus is a muddled, family-friendly effort that fails to live up to the talents of its impressive cast.
Sad.
Okay.
Truly sad.
Wow. Roger Ebert, the infamous film critic, gave it 1 star. 1. Boo. And that sucks because actually I had like a bad taste in my mouth about Roger Ebert, and then when we started this show, I started reading more of his reviews just to see what he was saying at the time, and a lot of them I do agree with.
Yeah.
So this
one didn't make it.
Okay.
No. But do you want me to read these excerpts? Okay. So this is an excerpt from Roger Ebert's review. Just prepare yourself.
Just go with it.
Okay. Hocus Pocus is a film desperately in need of self-discipline. It's one of those it's one of those projects where you imagine everyone laughing and applauding each other after every scene because they're so convinced they're so wild and crazy, you guys. But watching the movie is like attending a party you weren't invited to and where you don't know anybody and they're all in on a joke but won't explain it to you. One of the film's many problems, this is controversial to me. One of the film's many problems, the greatest may be that all 3 witches are thoroughly unpleasant.
They're witches.
They don't have personalities. They don't have personalities. They have behavior patterns and decibel levels. A good movie. Hateful. A good movie inspires the audience to subconsciously ask, give me more. The witches in this one inspired my silent cry, get me out of here. So Roger Ebert was not feeling spooky.
I mean, it is a kid's movie. It's like, is it really for Roger Ebert?
It's not for him.
We ask this question a lot. A lot of times the critic reviews are from middle-aged men, and we're reviewing like Aquamarine. So it's like, maybe don't watch it. It's like not for you. And then the audience score, this is some justice served is 71%, so huge jump from critic score.
This happens a lot with the movies we cover, too. There's normally a very wide gulf between critic consensus and audience score.
And we definitely dissect the reasons for that sort of
Yes.
thing in the show, in every episode, in different ways. But we've got some various audience opinions. Are these from Rotten Tomatoes?
Yes.
Okay. So the first one is cheesy pantomime, high camp, but I like how the characters roll with it. You can see why this became a holiday classic. Don't expect a quality plot, just fun acting. Somebody else says, the perfect Halloween movie, spooky, atmospheric, both fun and funny. And then our third anonymous audience member says, I still have a crush on Sarah Jessica Parker after this. Hocus Pocus has a special place in my heart. As a kid, not only was I terrified of the witches, but I also had a crush on one of them. With my recent rewatch, I had just as much fun as I did when I was a kid. The Sanderson sisters were the perfect trio of witches. Hearing Winifred screech, "Sisters," brings back all the nostalgic memories.
So the audience loved it and deserved, honestly, in my opinion. So, okay, now normally around this time we talk about what was going on culturally in the moment that the movie came out. So we're going back in the time machine to 1993 for this moment right now. So
Yes.
in 1993, the biggest movies at the time were Jurassic Park, Mrs. Doubtfire, The Firm, The Fugitive, Sleepless in Seattle, and Schindler's List. So there was a lot happening.
There's a lot going on there.
Lots of mainstays came out in 1993, including Hocus Pocus. Thank you very much. The top songs of the year included I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston.
Wow.
A moment.
Big year.
I Will Do Anything for Love by Meatloaf, LOL. I Can't Help Falling in Love by UB40 and Creep by Radiohead. Clinton was sworn in this year. The first Got Milk ad aired in 1993.
Haunting all of us in public school cafeterias for decades.
Yes. Yes. Also, the Michael Jackson Super Bowl performance was this year, and grunge rock was like really, really having its moment in this year. So like, In Utero came out this year. A bunch of really big grunge rock albums came out in '93, and the fashion at the time is kind of where it's ending up now.
Oh yeah.
So the 30-year cycle is upon us, and it's very similar to how it is now. What?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yes.
chokers.
Yes,
yeah.
yes, absolutely. So now we normally talk about childhood recollections of this movie or like preconceived notions we had going into our rewatch. What do you have on this?
Well, this is kind of scary for you.
Yes.
Because normally, obviously, we don't have an audience when we record this. So sometimes one of us is like admitting to have never seen an incredibly loved film, and this is.
I didn't see this until last week ever in my life. I don't know how, but it's true. So all of my takes are incredibly fresh. So that'll be an interesting ride for everyone here.
Yeah. And then it's funny, a lot of times I can't remember when I saw something for the first time, but I probably saw it on Disney Channel, or like at a friend's house or something, because I could remember, when I rewatched it, I remembered like certain scenes. So I know I had seen it before, and then I rewatch it kind of every year in more recent history, because my roommate loves it. So we always watch it like in October. But yeah, so it's like one of those movies where we don't have a ton of childhood things to go off of. But I remember seeing images of the Sanderson sisters and being like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like, I want to see that, you know?
Yeah. I guess I have a couple preconceived notions. One of them is that Audrey and I have a hobby that neither of us knew the other one had, which is that we're both really into like Disney theme park history videos.
What a thing to admit.
I know.
Damn.
I'm literally doing it like in all these from all these
God,
people. But
great.
it's true, and we somehow connected the dots like maybe a year ago, and I feel like for whatever reason, the Hocus Pocus sisters are like really featured in Disney Halloween things like in the park, so that's one thing.
Oh, makes sense.
And I also know that drag queens tend to love Hocus Pocus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's Bette Midler.
Right.
Of course.
Exactly. So that's kind of what I had going into it. But in terms of our love for Halloween things in general, we're both kind of scaredy cats.
Yeah. I'm really trying to grow, though. I really am. Like, one time, senior year of high school, like, I tried to go to a haunted house because I was forced to go, because I had access to a minivan that I could drive. And so everybody actually showed up. Hannah was already in college.
Yeah.
But, so she wasn't there for my traumatizing experience.
Trust, I wish I was there for what she's about to say.
But they all showed up at my house and were like, we're going. They, like, made me drive.
Yeah.
And so we are from Ohio. So the haunted houses in Ohio are in the middle of nowhere in a cornfield. Like, it's bad. If you are a scaredy cat, you might die. Like, it's bad. So I showed up knowing I was going to hate it, knowing I wouldn't even last. So we get in the line, and I had never been to a haunted house, so I didn't know what to expect. And it was one of those ones where the people dressed up will just run at you out of nowhere. Like, we were in line to get tickets. A man with a chainsaw, like, ran up on me, and I immediately lost my shit. Like, it was, like, over. I was crying. I was like, I'm going back to the minivan. Like, it's over.
Yep.
So that, yeah.
And then didn't you watch Titanic in the minivan with a random guy?
I can't even explain that one. This other kid from my high school was also scared, and for some reason he decided he was going to try to have us watch Titanic in the minivan. Extremely irrelevant story, but, you know.
Yeah, my only haunted house experience is that when I was a freshman at NYU, like, the only things I would really ever go super hard for were, again, with drag queens, like, drag race related events. And there was a drag race haunted house in Manhattan.
That's good. That's potent.
And I went to it, and it's the only haunted house I've ever been in. But it was really scary.
I
But
would go
also
to
it was
that.
like, okay, like, Courtney Act is standing right there. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You know, it was like scary from, like, the starstruck perspective and they're covered in blood and they're going to stab me perspective.
Yeah.
So that's kind of I know.
Interesting crossover there.
I know. It was kind of smart though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've always loved dressing up, obviously.
What?
We've always loved dressing up. Like, that part of it, never an issue.
Yeah, that has stayed true. Also, the previous Halloween, I went to a different drag race event where I saw Shangela break her leg on stage. So
yeah,
there's been a lot of drag race related Halloween things in my mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
How it should be.
Anything else we have about our preconceived notions before we just
honestly, I think we should just keep on trucking.
We'll be right back. And now we're back. And we are getting into our evaluation categories for Hocus Pocus. So this is how we normally do this. We go through and we say, what was good, what was bad, what has aged poorly, and is it still worth watching today? So, let's get into it.
Yeah. So let's start with the good stuff. So, growing up, I was a dancer, and we did theater and, like, just tons of musicals in our, like, currently we're actually doing all movie musicals.
Yes.
On the show. And so because of that, I've really been thinking about when you can tell that a director understands movement and rhythm versus having absolutely no clue. Yeah. And, like, recently we did 2004, I don't know, Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, 2004
right?
Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah. And, like, that is an example of a film where, like, the director has no clue how to edit with music, like, at all. But this is not the case because the director, Kenny Ortega, is a choreographer.
Right.
So that bleeds into everything, the editing, the blocking, you know, like the camera movement. And so I was really appreciating that after having this, like, drought of directors who don't understand.
Yes.
Like, why hire them for a music? Like, this isn't a musical, but there's a lot of music in it.
And it requires, like, a similar suspension of disbelief, I feel.
Yeah.
So it's similar.
Yeah. Of course, I absolutely must address the Sarah Jessica Parker wig directly after they are de-aged.
Okay.
For some reason, after that, it gets less curly. I don't know why. But right after they are de-aged, it's perfect. It's so good. I love when Thora Birch's character says, the weirdos are out.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just really enjoy that line. And also, can we just talk about her lipstick situation?
Yes. It's a moment.
Like, she's kind of giving it to us. She kind of is. Like, she's just, her like super bright blue eyes. It's very striking.
Yes.
So I enjoyed that, and that the fact that they gave it to her, like, as a little kid, you know?
Yeah.
I found that, in general, there's great casting and chemistry here, especially with the witches. And, like, I was watching a behind-the-scenes thing. Well, I forget the name of the actress, the one that's less famous than the other two.
Kathy Najimy?
Kathy.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she was talking about how she was such a huge Bette Midler fan that, like, she literally used to write letters to Bette Midler, put them on her doorstep about, like, when she was a kid, about how much she loved her and she wanted to be an actress, she wanted to be on Broadway, blah, blah, blah. And she said that she really channeled her fear of acting next to Bette Midler as, like, a motivator to, like, match her level, kind of. But she said she was, like, actually terrified.
I mean, that would be scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's cool. And then the guy who plays the devil, like, he has, like, a
It's
short...
Gary Marshall.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, sorry, I spoiled it. I'm sorry.
She just stole my point. Anyway.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's Gary Marshall, and Gary Marshall is the director of Princess Diaries, and I think he passed.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Legend.
He
R.I.P.
had a really illustrious career, even in, like, the content that we like to cover. So when I saw his face, I was like, oh, there he is.
Grandpa, he's here.
Yeah. And then I was also loving the fact that the I Put a Spell on You number is just like a pseudo drag performance.
Yes.
I know we keep talking about drag, but, like, it actually is very relevant here, I feel. And it was blocked that way, and it just, like, gave me that.
It was like on a stage.
Yes.
Like they just did it the way they knew they could slay it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Those are my main appreciations.
Okay. So my main appreciations are, I love that the actual premise of this movie is that it's basically an I don't believe in Santa type thing.
Yeah, but for
Whereas,
Halloween.
like, all this Halloween stuff is so wrong. Like, I just love that you know that the point of the movie, like, in so many ways, is, like, to just, like, dunk on this 14-year-old and to, like, prove to him that Halloween is, like, real, which isn't even a genre.
Like, this is not,
Yeah.
It's not very common, like, as a storyline for Halloween.
But one thing that we really love is, like, when stuff I like it when movies are simple. I like it when they make it obvious what's the journey we're going on. And that's another one of the notes I had, which is I love how they're like, it's all got to happen on Halloween night because we're not going to survive if we can't get the book back by the end of Halloween. It's just laid out before you so simply. You know when everything will be tied up. I like to be held in such a way. And I felt very held by this movie in that way.
Yeah, I feel like because like, you study screenwriting or playwriting or whatever, and, you know, when you can tell where it's going to go and it's very clear, there's something satisfying about that.
It's like the concept of, like, the audience needs to know when they can go home.
Yeah.
Like, that's this movie lets us know when we can go home. So love that about it. Good screenplay. I also love that there's so much in this movie. Like, we love fish out of water type movies. So, like, Aquamarine, obviously. We talk about Aquamarine a lot.
We talk about it way too much, actually.
Elf, like, Big, those sort of movies. And there's so much of this movie that's just like, what's a bus? Ooh, like, people, like, not knowing, like, basic things.
Yeah.
But then making it so campy that it's, like, pantomime borderline.
Yeah.
I really loved that about it. I was pretty impressed by the cat CGI. Even though it's really scary, I was like, this is better than I thought.
It's not too bad. 93. And the only thing I notice about it is just that the kind of like the lighting of it is wrong in most shots.
Yeah.
Like, the cat is too light for the shot. Like, it's like, there's that, but
Yeah.
still, I'm not going to critique it too hard.
Yeah. And fun fact about that cat, a lot of it was CGI, but I guess that they ultimately used the animatronic in Sabrina with Melissa Joan Hart. So it got repurposed in a very efficient way, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like, who hooked them up? Like, that's what I want to know.
Probably the creator of the cat animatronic.
He's like going around
He's like,
Hollywood,
"Do you
like peddling
want
his
this?
wares. Like, he wants this
Please
cat.
take this off my hands. I don't want it.
Okay, and then what else do I have? I mean, honestly, for good things, I think the thing that got me the most too was the really good jump scare. The part where the little girl, Danny, gets like kidnapped by the witches and Sarah like jumps out of the bed. I was like, okay, the people making this movie know how to make it scary. They're just not making it scary because that jump scare really got me.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Oh, it got you.
Oh, it got me.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it got me. It fully got me. So there's many, and obviously it's a great movie.
Yeah.
So now we have to go into the nitpicking part. So let's talk about the things that were not so good.
You know, I actually didn't have much here because, like, when we're covering a movie that has like political or real life implications, it's like a little bit easier to understand how it's aged or things that are questionable about it. But this one is so fantastical that it's like a little bit harder to.
Yeah, we're like entering reach zone.
Yeah, like
currently.
this is like reach zone. Don't worry, guys. But I do feel like the concept of like what?
Bad, not problematic right now.
Yes.
Though. Okay.
Correct.
Cool. Okay.
The like Disneyfication of witches is interesting.
Yeah.
Because it is based on the Salem witch trials. Like the Sanderson sisters, not real, but the event is real. And so the fact that Disney felt like, I was just surprised thinking about it that they felt they could make.
I mean, there is a full execution scene.
Yeah.
You just see the feet.
You just don't see.
But still,
It's like not lighthearted at all.
No.
And I know there's like a lot of people in this country who wouldn't be down to let their kids, like, I remember when we were kids, a lot of, or maybe not a lot, but some of our friends' parents wouldn't let them watch like Harry Potter or like SpongeBob, or like, that doesn't have to do with witchcraft, but you know, just various things for that reason. Like they didn't want them to see witchcraft. So the fact that Disney released this huge movie about actual witches was interesting to me.
I agree.
But it seems that people all around like loved it. But I was wondering if anybody like objected to it ideologically.
I mean, even I went all the way to common sense reviews for this one because I was curious, and really I didn't see anything too scalding. I thought there would be more, but there really wasn't.
Yeah, because we've seen way worse for less.
Yes.
Less than actual witchcraft.
Yeah. Yes, it is true.
That's interesting.
It is true.
I also felt that there are some pacing issues in this movie. It has like the false ending of the witches being burnt.
Which I have qualms about that.
Okay. Yeah, so we've got the false ending, and then you kind of think it's over, and then you find out, just kidding, they're still here. But after that moment, there's still like 30 minutes left of the movie. And my brain kept telling me, it's almost over, it's almost over, it's almost over. But then it wasn't. I don't know.
Well, can I tag in on that?
Yeah.
So I kind of felt the same way, but the reason why they think that the battle is over is because they like shove the witches in an incinerator in the high school. However, is it not the number one rule of witches that you can't burn witches?
Like, literally.
And I have double qualms with it because in the beginning, Allison, the love interest, is like, my mom used to run the witch museum. I know everything about witches. But then she's the one who's like, they're dead now. We burned them. I'm like, Allison, you should know better.
Allison, you're lying.
Like, Allison, where did it go?
Where's
Where did the
your
knowledge
knowledge?
go?
Like... Did she really?
And then she's the one who like opens the book, even though Thackeray told them not to open the book. And it felt, okay, this is reach for real reach, but very forbidden fruit to me. Like it was giving me that sort of vibe.
Well, is interesting too because we've got this whole like it's not even underlying, this whole theme of virginity in Hocus Pocus.
Yeah,
which is what? Like if you are a 5-year-old watching this, or even like, you know, you could be like 12, 13, depending on your environment growing up, like you hear the word virginity, you're like, what?
Right.
I don't know what they're talking about.
Then you go up to your parents and you're like, Mom, what's virginity?
Yeah.
And they have to tell you, and it's awkward for everyone.
Yeah. So that's interesting. That is funny. Like she's opening, it's like Adam and Eve vibes.
Yes.
Oh.
That's my reach. That's
so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang.
Do you have anything else under bad?
The ending.
It's something.
When they are outside the pearly gates, literally.
I literally wrote down in all caps, not the sister and not the cheek kiss, because it was so unsettling to me. Like, the sister comes back from the grave, and they're, like, happy to be back together, and then the cat's the guy again, but he kisses the girl who's, like, a kid.
Oh, well, aren't they siblings?
No, like, he...
Oh, you're talking about the, like, zombie dude?
No.
Oh.
Thackeray, who was once the cat.
Why is his name Thackeray?
Thackeray Binks, right? That's his name?
Yeah.
He goes over to Danny because she's sad that he's no longer an immortal cat.
Oh,
and
right,
is
right.
like kisses her on the cheek and is like, I'll always be with you, like in spirit.
Yeah, and she's like, okay, cool.
Yeah. I gotta say, all the smushed cat imagery has to have disturbed some children. Is all I have to say. There's a lot of smushed cat in this movie.
Yeah, that's sad.
And then when he reinflates.
Yeah, I feel like, well, when you think about this movie, you don't think about any of the stuff we just said.
Yeah.
But it's totally there on rewatch. You're like, wait, what?
Yes.
Oh.
For me, so because I had never seen this movie until last week, when I read all of the context for it, it always seemed like it was centrally the story of these witches, but it's actually about Max, which I was really surprised by because all of the synopses of the movie are like, these sisters have one night to do this thing. But then it's actually like, Max wants a girlfriend and doesn't believe in Halloween.
Yeah.
And then these sick witches are here, but they're like not even the main character.
The main character.
Like, I wanted it to be like an hour and a half of slapstick from them, and I would have been happy with that.
Right.
And just going back to the good thing for 1 second, I want to know how they came up with all of those like incredibly specific like march things that they do and like little rhythmic things.
Yeah.
I was impressed with those characterizations. I'm wondering if they made them all up or like if the director gave it to them.
I mean, yeah, potentially. He probably was like, you need something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
because they did.
There's a similar thing in High School Musical too.
Don't talk about it.
We don't have to talk about
Please
it, but
don't.
if you know, you know. There's a similar thing in High School Musical too. I want to know why Sarah Jessica Parker gets to be hot in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad she is.
Anybody could, like, they all could have been hot witches.
Yeah.
However, we only get one.
Just one. I just wonder about that.
Yeah.
And then this is just kind of a random.
She got the smoky eye and the
corset. Truly like cinched.
Snatched.
Like it was happening for her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also I thought the whole fiasco with like Max drinking the potion and then the potion like falling through, like tumbling through the sky in like a very Emperor's New Groove-esque way was seemed like it should have been in a cartoon and not in a live action movie. But again,
it's all right.
This movie is the way
it is cartoony.
Yeah.
They're larger than life.
Yes.
You know?
Okay, so there's nothing actually problematic in Hocus Pocus.
No.
But we have some thoughts.
I mean, it's a very white movie.
Other than
there's that. But
yeah.
As far as like the plot itself, not really.
It's
very fantastical.
Yes. But what do you have in this category? Do you have anything?
Well, I kind of already mentioned them. Yeah, no, not. I put them more in the like worse, I guess, category than problematic because there's nothing really to take strong issue with.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I think really for me, just I really was disappointed that Max was the main character.
Yeah,
and
it's very fitting for this.
I know, right? It kind of is.
This conference, like we didn't want to see the boy. Like
yeah,
we didn't want it.
Well, and the thing that I thought was interesting about that choice too is that so in the movie, there's like this running theme of like allegiance to your sister. And the main thing is that it's like in the beginning, Max like thinks his sister is just like annoying and stupid and like doesn't want to help her like have a good Halloween or whatever.
Yeah, like, is it hard for you, Max? Is it hard for you to go trick-or-treating?
He has to play drums alone in his room on Halloween instead of take his sister trick-or-treating. It's a very high priority.
It's also funny how they give it the like West Coast, East Coast dichotomy.
Like why? Like why is that even there?
He's like a groovy dude from the West Coast.
Yeah.
Like he can't get with Halloween. People celebrate Halloween on the West Coast. Like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
He's like wearing the tie-dye shirt.
I know the tie-dye, like the tie-dye is it
and like,
for him.
We didn't even touch on the bullies.
I'm
like,
going to touch on the bullies. I'm going to touch on the bullies.
Okay.
So, let me talk about them first. Well, really, my main thing is I was shocked when he left them to die.
Yeah, that's kind of dark.
When he left them in the cages. And one thing we talk about kind of a lot on Sleepover is like when villains get like aggressively disposed of, like to the point where it's like more than it's even called for. And the example we talk about the most is just so stupid, but The Little Mermaid 2.
Has anybody seen that? Little Mermaid 2, Journey to the Sea.
Journey to the Sea. Return to the Sea.
Return to the Sea.
Return to the Sea.
Yeah, it is.
They freeze her in a block of ice and let her sink to the bottom of the ocean. It's like,
dark.
Good God, like that's just
we were like, can she not be like rehabilitated?
She can't be rehabilitated. There's no room for restorative justice.
It's like Ursula's sister. That's very off topic, but.
And so I kind of felt the same way about the bullies, but I feel like it was a situation where like if we had watched to the end of the credits, there probably would have been a tiny scene of them like breaking out of the house, like, oh, that was a close one. But I don't know
There
if that
isn't.
exists.
But
what do you have to say about them?
I just felt they were unnecessary to the entire movie. I didn't think they needed to be in there because he's already opposed enough. Like Max is already opposed.
He's
enough
already oppressed enough by this world.
Halloween.
Yes, Halloween is bringing him down enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. But with the sisterhood thing, this is kind of what, like, if I'm nitpicking, and obviously I'm nitpicking, the thing that bothered me was that, like, it becomes about him wanting to, like, rescue his sister from being, like, abducted eventually, but then like there's the whole thing about how the cat is like forever like in sadness and depression because he couldn't save his sister from the witches.
Yeah.
And so there's this whole like sisterhood allegiance thing going on, and I'm like, you have these 3 interesting sisters right here.
Let's talk about those sisters.
Like, that could have been your sister's story.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get why it wasn't that. But at the same time, it's like, obviously they wanted to make money off this somehow.
Yeah, and like having the main character be Max will bring a more varied audience. Like, had it been the Bette Midler show.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, it's true. And I also really hated... There were so many moments where like the witches would be like about to do something really like powerful and like really like mess with them, and he's like, no, you won't. I know how to beat you. And like just like says something stupid and then it actually works.
Yeah.
Like that was so frustrating to me every time. I was like, I want these witches to be smarter and more powerful than him, but they aren't, which is so annoying.
I think this like has the issue of like I'm rooting for the wrong people.
Yeah.
Like I kind of want the witches to win.
Yeah, well, that's probably why it's a cult classic though, is that it's like so obvious, like the interpretation of it that's not what the creators want you to do is like so obvious.
Yeah.
That I feel like that's got to
And I'm wondering, like Hocus Pocus 2, are we going to like do this plot 2.0?
I believe that is what it is.
Oh no.
But it's
I
like
wanted them to right their wrongs a little bit. Like,
I know. I think it's girls this time though, instead of Max and his sister.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
I'm positive it will be.
Yeah. So I guess I just am interested to see if this, well, like in a world where this movie would have been written by a woman or like directed by a woman, I would be interested to see how the story would have been a little bit different.
Do you know if it is this time? The second one?
I do not know for sure.
I would put money on it.
Well, Kenny Ortega is directing, and one of these dudes from the beginning that I was talking about is producing.
Oh, okay.
So some of the people are coming back.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'll allow it for Kenny Ortega. He's provided enough.
He's fed us enough over the years,
yeah.
I believe. So, final thoughts. Is this movie worth watching in 2021? Absolutely.
Yes.
Of course.
Of course. Sometimes we honestly say no. Like last week, or actually yesterday. What day is it? Friday?
Yesterday.
Yesterday, we released an episode on 2005's Rent. And like, in our opinion, that is one that you don't really need to rewatch.
Yeah.
For lots of reasons.
Listen to the episode if you want to hear why.
Yeah.
But whatever. This one stands on its own.
Yeah.
It's really, really great. And I know that for so many people, it's like such a wholesome source of holiday nostalgia and joy. And I got into it. I really liked it.
Yeah.
I wish that I had like more of a hill to die on with this one, but it's so good.
Yeah, sometimes we'll be fighing, but today's
sometimes
not
we
one
are
of those,
fighting.
Today's not one of those days.
No, we're in agreement.
Unfortunately.
We're in agreement. So anything else?
I think we're all wrapped up at this point.
Yeah, so Hocus Pocus, excellent choice.
Absolutely
to this very
rewatch.
day.
Yeah. Spooky season. You got to do it. Go home, watch it again.
It's on Disney Plus. You don't even have to find like a weird link. Like
Yeah.
it's so accessible.
Yeah, sometimes that does happen.
Yeah, the way we watched Sweeney Todd over the past 2 days has been suspect at most.
Suspect.
We made it work. So, thank you all for hanging out with us. This has been so fun. It's our first live episode. We did it. So thank you all for being here. And we hope you have a great rest of the conference. If you see us around, please come talk to us. We have stickers. They're on the table.
Oh, yeah.
Also, we have so much evergreen stuff. Go take it. Like,
yeah, please.
You want a beach towel? It's free. It's right over there. So you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at toopinkpictures. That's our filmmaking, company title, which is like a whole other thing. If you want to know about that, you can ask us about that. And then on Facebook and TikTok, we're at Sleepover Cinema. And there's the rest of our contact information. And
yeah, this has been fun.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.
You can find more from us at evergreenpodcast.com/sleepover-cinema and keep up with our latest creative projects at toopinkpictures.com. If you want to watch our show as well as listen, we're on YouTube too. Search Sleepover Cinema or go to the linktree in our Instagram bio. We're on Instagram and Twitter at toopinkpictures and would love to hear from you there. We're also on TikTok at Sleepover Cinema, and that's really where the party is at.
And if you like the show, if it brings back evocative memories of childhood or tweendom or babysitting, share the episode with a few friends. Leave us an iTunes review telling us what movie you'd like to see us cover next, and leave us a review if you like the show, and if you don't. Sleepover Cinema is a production of Evergreen Podcasts, produced, edited, and engineered by us, Hannah and Audrey Leach. Sleepover Cinema is mixed by Sean Rule Hoffman with theme music by Josh Perlman Hall. Special thanks to executive producers Michael D'Aloia and David Moss. We'll chat again soon.